Hello students, welcome to Legacy IAS Academy. Today we are going to discuss about the economically weaker section quota, and we are going to discuss that Supreme Court has decided to determine that whether this particular decision of the government to allow EWS quota in the government jobs as well as the higher education institutions is constitutional or unconstitutional. So let us try to understand this topic in more detail. So first of all, why this is a news? So recently the Supreme Court has said that it is going to examine that whether the Constitutional Amendment Act, that is 103rd Amendment Act that was passed few years back, whether it violates the basic structure of the Constitution or not. The act basically aimed to ensure that there is 10% reservation or 10% quota for the economically weaker sections in both government jobs as well as in the educational institutions. And for determining the constitutionality of this particular amendment act, a five-judge constitution bench that is led by Chief Justice of India UU Lalit and also comprising Justices S. Ravindra Bhatt, Dinesh Maheshwari, S. P. Pardiwala, and Bela Trivedi, they have decided last week that they are going to examine the constitutionality of this particular amendment act on the basis of three key issues that the we can say the petitioner has decided to put against the court. So what are the issues that has been put for the consideration of the court? So three issues are there, and it is these three issues that petitioners have said that are violating the basic structure of the constitution. That was something that was determined basically in the Keswanand Bharti case in the early 1970s by the Supreme Court. So what are these issues? The first issue is regarding the economic criteria. Current provision of EWS quota in the government job as well as educational institutions basically take economic criteria as a sole basis of granting special benefits to certain class of people, and that is why the petitioners have said that it is in violation of article 15 and 16 of the constitution. What are these articles? We'll discuss later. Second, also the private unaided institutions, they are also saying that their fundamental rights are being violated because now they are being forced by the government to ensure that there is 10% reservation for the EWS people. And third is that the EWS section basically gives special rights to the people who are coming from economically backward community. However, there is the people who are coming from other backward classes, people who are belonging to scheduled caste as well as scheduled tribe have not been considered to be put under the category of EWS. So basically, EWS is only for the people who are belonging to the general category, and that is why petitioners have said that this also is in violation of the basic structure of the constitution. So the Supreme Court is going to examine on these three issues that whether the 103rd Amendment Act is constitutional or unconstitutional. So let us try to understand what basically was 103rd Amendment Act and what does it entails. So first of all, this Amendment Act included, or we can say inserted, two articles, Article 15 Clause 6 and Article 16 Clause 6, and these two articles basically provided 10% reservation to EWS on the basis of economic backwardness. In other words, the inclusion of these two articles have empowered the state governments to ensure that they can reserve 10% of seats in the state government job as well as state education institution, private education institution for the economically weaker section. Now, what is Article 15 and 16 in which amendment has been made? So, originally Article 15 prohibits discrimination of any kind on the grounds such as religion, race, caste, sex, or place of birth. At the same time, Article 16 guarantees equal opportunity in the matters of public employment. And thus, the additional clauses, Clause 6 in both these articles, gave Parliament the power to make special laws for EWS like it does similarly for the SCs, STs, and OBC. However, there is a catch. In giving a special privilege, a special benefit to the people belonging to SC, STs, and OBC, the social backwardness is also taken into consideration. However, in the case of EWS, only the economic criteria has been chosen to demarcate a certain class of people and provide them with certain benefits in the government job as well as in the educational institutions. So if we try to understand the beginning of 103rd Amendment, so basically this amendment was done after a commission under the retired Major General S.R. Sinha submitted its report. The commission was set up by the UPA government that time in year 2005 in the month of March, and finally the commission submitted its report to the government in year 2010. And as per the report of this commission, it has recommended that all the people in India who are belonging to the below poverty line families, as well as all such families whose annual income from all different kind of sources do not exceed the taxable limit, should be categorized or should be put into the category of economically backward section. So how basically we can determine economically weaker section as per the current convention of the government? So in this regard, Department of Personnel and Training (DOPT) has basically published a memorandum, and as per this report, if you want to uh, take benefit of reservation as per the EWS criteria, these are a few things you have to check mark. The first thing is that your family's income should be less than rupees 8 lakh per annum. Second, agricultural land that is held by your family should be less than 5 acres in totality. Third is you should not or your family should not be an owner of residential flat that is higher than 1000 square feet in size, and second also residential plot less than 100 to 200 square yards in the urban areas. If you are also having this, then you will not be allowed to have you will not be allowed to come into the category of EWS and take the benefit associated with it. Here also we have to keep in mind that in the last year, October 2021, there was also a dispute regarding how this income of rupees 8 lakh per annum has been determined, and the Supreme Court then asked the government to give a justification for this. The government in response said that they will revisit this criteria of rupees 8 lakh per annum for determination of EWS, and then later on government also has set up a committee, a 3-member committee was set up, and this 3-member committee again said that rupees 8 lakh is a rational justification, rational criteria for identification of EWS, and the government has currently accepted this and submitted to the Supreme Court that rupees 8 lakh per annum is a justified criteria for classification of EWS, and that is why right now it stands. Now, what are the basis, if we try to understand that, on what basis the amendment, 103rd amendment has been challenged, and why it is said to be violative of Article 15 and 16, and also violating of doctrine of basic structure laid by Supreme Court in earlier. So first of all, I talk about the amendment is in violation of basic structure of the Constitution on basis of three reasons as given by the petitioner. So how this 103rd Amendment Act is violative of basic structure of the Constitution? So petitioner says that first of all, this has amended Article 15 and Article 16. Now, as per Article 15 and 16, special protections are guaranteed to only socially disadvantaged group. There is no talk of economic backwardness, and that is why putting EWS into by amending this article is violative of basic structure, basic doctrine, because it basically is violative of Article 15 and 16. Second, petitioner also says and try to take the attention of Supreme Court toward the Indra Sawhney and or others versus Union of India judgment in year 1992, where Supreme Court has capped the reservation quota up to 50%, and also it has said that the only economic backwardness cannot be the sole criteria for providing reservation benefit by the state or the central government. So this is also the point of contention. The third point of contention, as we discussed before, is from the point of view of public unaided institutions, private unaided institutions, where they say that by enforcing the government, since they are asking them to enforce 10% reservation in the seats, the college seats, it is a violative of fundamental right to practice a trade and profession. So it is on these three issues the 103rd Amendment Act has been challenged in the Supreme Court. So what has been the reply or a stand of the government on these particular allegations? So first of all, as far as consideration of social backwardness is concerned, government says that their decision to allow EWS to gain reservation benefit is as per the line of Article 46 of the Constitution, which is a directive principle of state policy. What does Article 46 basically says? That the state shall promote with special care the educational and economic interest of the weaker section of the people. Now see here, the term used here is not socially weaker or economically weaker. It is simply the weaker section of the people. And then it says that in particular of the scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, and shall protect them from social injustice and all forms of exploitation. So obviously government is trying to defend its decision by saying that now in weaker section of people, we also have included people who are economically weaker. They not need to necessarily be socially weaker as well. Then the second point, as far as the basic structure and threat to basic doctrine is basic structure doctrine is concerned, government says that to challenge any amendment that it is violative of the basic structure of the Constitution should be only done if the very identity of the Constitution has been altered. And in this particular case, by allowing EWS to have reservation, the identity of constitution has not been altered. So there is no point in we can say challenging 103rd Amendment Act of Constitution. Third, as far as the Indira Sawhney judgment is concerned, the government has taken refuge in the Ashok Kumar Thakur versus Union of India judgment of Supreme Court again in year 2008, where Supreme Court has upheld the 27% reservation for the other backward classes. And in this area, in this judgment, basically Supreme Court has said that only one criteria such as social criteria or economic criteria cannot be the basis of providing reservation. There can be multiple criteria that can be used, and that is why government says that we are in some cases using socially backward criteria for OBCs, SCs, and STs, and in case of EWS, we are using the economically backward criteria. There need not be a single sole criteria, one criteria to identify or classify citizens into a particular category. So this is the overall stand and the judgment of the government or reply of the judgment. Now, obviously, since Supreme Court is going to take the case and give the detailed judgment, we'll have to wait and see that what and how the Supreme Court interprets the 103rd Amendment Act of the Constitution. And based on that, as the judgment comes, we'll come again with another video and we'll try to explain the whatever decision is made in this particular regard. So that is all for today. Thank you very much.